All right, guys. Once you start to get the way these work, and especially if you work on your factoring skills that are still weak, I can't stress to you enough about if you're not good with factoring, you're going to be incapable of doing some stuff this entire chapter. So you really have to focus on that, right? And I don't know where you can go. Maybe me, maybe tutors, maybe, I don't know, it's crazy, for help if you can't quite get some factoring down. Very first problem does not require factoring, right? It's only got one part to it. Some of you guys can just look at this now and see what it's going to be. What's going to make that undefined? Yeah, and if you can't quite see that, here's the thing about, remember this is related to basically the domain. If I ever ask you, what's the domain of this function, of this thing? You say to yourself what it is that needs to happen. At the bottom can't be 0. So that's it in English. Now make it in the Mathish. The bottom can't be 0. It's almost too good to believe. And then you solve what you just wrote down. So x can't be 2. Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
It has that little line to the equal sign, or else it's wrong.
Well, the way I asked it, if you said x equals 2, you're fine, because I asked you to find the values and make it undefined. This is beautiful. This is also acceptable. And I try to push you guys in this direction a little bit to hammer home that x cannot be that.
Got you. I like that.
Me too. So part B, there's a little bit of work to do. Can anybody tell me what doesn't matter where shit in this part B? The top. The top does not mean a damn thing in this problem, because it's all about the bottom can't be 0. So it's almost as nice as the first problem. I just have to factor the bottom, and I got basically 2 of these down there. You guys with me? So I don't care about the top. How's the bottom factor?
X plus
X plus 10, X minus
So x can't be
3.
negative 10 or positive 3, because they both make their pieces 0, which make the whole thing 0 on the bottom, which freaks the whole thing out.
Let's freak it out.
Freak it out.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So what's the answer?
This. X can't be negative 10, and x can't be 3.
So the question is find the value that
And make
makes
the
it-
expression undefined. So what values make it undefined? These 2. These 2 make it undefined. So the way that I asked the question, you could say the answer is this. Oops. You get the sign the right way. Right?
Yeah.
I just always put the 9 equal to really hammer home that x can't be those things, because if you try to use them, it's going to make the original problem undefined.
Mm.
I like it. But you see, it's all based on factoring, so I can see the parts it's made of, so I can see what kills each part.
Mhm.
I like it. And Mikey. Number 2, these are the ones that are just like the problems we just did. So 2a, you factor, factor, factor. The top is what kind of factor?
The cube.
Squared.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at B.
Okay, right, top's GCF. You always try GCF first, because it's the last thing I normally think of, but it's the first thing you should try. In this case, it's all you can do. On the bottom, it's going to be,
Now it's the boys. We called them the boys like a bunch of times.
Plus 10
well, this isn't the
minus
cube, it's
9.
not the little boy, big boy. These are the twins, the little twins.
X plus 10, X minus 9.
There you go. Right? Everybody with me? And then you step back. Once you get everything factored, then you can see what dies. So what does?
X minus 9.
Die. How are we doing? Is that all right? I mean, you can see how if you can factor pretty well, these should actually be pretty easy. You factor everything, and then you just draw a line through what's the same on the top and the bottom. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Part B, the top is going to be the little boy, big boy, yeah. You guys good? M cubed plus 27 is MMM 333, so just to cut to the chase. M and 3, a couple of M's, 3M, and then the other two 3s. Is that right?
Yep.
And then the bottom was the only thing you could do at first.
Take out
Four.
four.
Take out a 4. So here's my my suggestion to you. When you have a cubes in one of these problems, and you have a 3-term dealio on the other side, so there's a cube on top, and there's a 3-termer on the bottom, do not try to factor this guy until you rule out that he's the big dude. You can't factor the big dude. So people go a little insane trying to factor this, and some people actually do it. And of course they are wrong because you can't factor the damn thing. And then you don't realize you can just kill the whole damn thing. So I was talking to somebody else, if I had like a cubed plus 8w to the 6 over some bullshit, and over here I had this and bullshit, do I have to factor this? It does. I don't have to worry about it at all. It's dead. Okay. Bury it, cremate. I don't know what its wishes were, but it's dead. So what's the answer up here real quick? Yes, good. The 4's on the bottom. Big X. Part C looks really yummy. So again, I'm gonna kind of do the factoring a little quickly. If you need more work with factoring, you've got to come see me. You've got to go back to the sections in the homework. You've got to do something about the factoring immediately. So I'm just going to kind of factor these as I go. So this top is going to be, yeah?
It is A minus B over 2 times 5A minus 6B.
What's in the middle here?
Division.
And how do you divide fractions?
You
Multiply by the reciprocal.
Multiplied by the reciprocal, yeah. So let me, is everybody cool with that? Everybody see that?
Yeah.
It's a division problem of fractions. I'm going to flip the second guy over. So I'm going to look at the bottom on the top here. I'm going to,
It's a difference of square.
good.
5A minus 6B, 5A plus 6B.
Everybody cool with that? That was on the bottom. I made it times. I put it on the top now. And the thing that is on the top,
5A minus 6B. Cross cancels.
no.
Oh.
Thing that is on the top, you can take an A out.
You get A squared minus B squared 2 times
And in the interest of space, let me just put this underneath. Right? So I don't have to rewrite everything. Do that same thing too. And now so number 1 problem is people don't know how to factor, they're gonna die on this. Number 2 problem is they factor everything correctly, but they don't see all the survivors. Don't leave anybody behind. Right? Don't leave any of the boys behind. You gotta take them all with you. Look at right there, bam, 3, shit yeah. Right? What else dies?
A minus B.
Die. That's where you're gone.
5A minus 6B.
5A minus 6B, dead to me. All right, and then what's left alive on the top?
3 times
3?
5A plus 6B.
Y? Yeah, that's major shit. So 3, Y, 5A plus 6B. What's alive on the bottom?
A times
A times A plus B. Kick ass. And please, no reason to multiply that back out. Leave it like this so then you can kind of verify you didn't forget to kill anybody. Right? That's the worst thing. So if you leave a problem, somebody's alive that should be dead. Some of you guys look, I'm sorry. Some of you guys look a little like, oh, this is math, not Game of Thrones. This is both. So very cool with that, you guys see that? It's all about factoring. If you know how to factor, you factor everything. If it's dividing, you gotta change it to multiplication by reciprocal. We know that's how fractions work. These are fractions, they are just much worse than we're used to. They got more shit in them. but they are still fractions. They're going to work the same way. That's the huge thing about math. That's the thing I keep talking about. The math doesn't care what's in something. The form it's in works the same way always.
Is 3 just 3x plus 3?
We do what?
3x plus 3?
3x plus 3?
For number 3?
3. Oh, let's find out. 3a. I didn't say a damn thing about these. I'm the best. You're the best, Jeff. Don't give us any instruction on this at all. But I didn't have to. Those are two fractions. Do they have the same denominator?
Yes.
Yes. So what am I allowed to do then? I am allowed to add them. Now what always kills me is people know that 3/4 plus 3/4 is not 6/8. That's bullshit, right? 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6/4, and you can do whatever the shit, right? So over here, 6 of these plus 12 of these is so many of these. The bottom is still going to be 2x plus 1. But on the top, you can now add these. They are not like terms, so I'm not saying you're suddenly allowed to put them together, even though they're not like. You just throw them on the top, right? And in fact, I mean, if you really think about it, if I had 7/5 plus 3/5, I could write that as 7 plus 3 over 5. Would I? No, because I know it's freaking 10, but the reason we throw them together is because we're allowed to. Over there, I'm not allowed to. They're not like terms. But it's the same idea. Doesn't really change. But, same thing here. What would I do next after this? Would I stop there? No, you reduce it. So what do I do now? I try to reduce this. So let's see. 2 goes into 12.
6.
Uh-oh, shit. Somebody fell right into the trap. Division can't break into an addition problem, so you have to try to factor the top. What comes out? Take out a 6. Well, you can just say that's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
It's really easy to forget that because we have had it pushed in our head so much to immediately reduce things. But you've got to stop yourself and say the division cannot kill part of an addition problem. It's not what it's programmed to do. But if I write the top as a multiplication problem, now the division's all cool with it. It's like, I can do this shit. Right? So then this dies, and this answer is always 6. No matter what you make x, this comes out to be 6. Which is kind of neat. So then the next one, same way, I just made the top a little more interesting. Right? So if you throw all that stuff together. Oh, this is really, okay, there's a little extra bit here, of course. What are the two main things that screw us up in mathematics, no matter what you're doing? Huh?
Fractions. Negatives.
I love it. Negatives and 0. Right? Right? Think about
Yes.
it. All right. Huh? Do I mess up?
Yes.
Oh shit, yeah. Have I messed up in here?
Yeah.
You kidding me? Not all the time. If I messed up in every problem, then you have to go, say we need somebody else. But I am human, after all, as far as you know. So now watch. I'm going to do it wrong. Don't write this down. So here I go. It's the same denominator. So I'm supposed to be able to just put them together. All right, I made a mistake.
The 4.
Because this is minus this whole thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So what I'd rather do, for reasons you'll see very soon, is, well, one thing you could do is to just start 2x squared minus 5 minus x squared minus 4. You have to distribute those. And the really interesting thing is, anytime I write a fraction like this, there is an understood something. So when I write the number 7, there's an understood 1 there, there's an understood 1 up there. There's all these understood shit, right?
Yeah.
When I write this, there's an understood parentheses. There is. Right? In fact, I think we did a problem like, if I wanted to do this problem in the calculator, I would have to put the parentheses in it, right? So that's really what this is. You guys kind of, so what I'm saying is there's an understood parentheses that negative has got to distribute. That is going to be remarkably easy to forget. So what I tell people sometimes is make that a plus, put the negative up there right away so you don't forget. Yes?
What about x minus 3? It becomes 3 minus x.
Oh, well, that would be the next level. We're not quite there yet. In fact, I gave you this before you even talked about it, to be honest. Yes, that is another consideration. But if the bottoms aren't the same, we're not there yet. And this will be over what?
X minus 3.
Oh, it's a little puppy dog. I didn't even notice. Sorry, yeah, x minus 3. And so what do you get up here?
3 squared plus.
What's happening?
X
2x squared minus 1x squared is 1x squared. Minus 5 minus 4 is. And then, of course, you can. Yep.
That's what I said, booby trap.
Is it milk trap?
I said booby trap.
I think you trap caught him.
What's a milk trap?
I didn't say booby trap. I said booby
Okay,
trap.
it's getting past. Whatever kind of trap. It's a trap. Last thing for today. Let's see how much time I got. Okay, perfect. Want to remind you guys about a process. I'm pretty sure I showed you how to do something like this. What you got, Jeff? Oh, dude, let's make this easy. Yeah, there. I like that. Sure. I like it. So I don't know what method you guys use to find LCD. When the numbers are small, it almost doesn't matter what method you use. But when the numbers get a little bit bigger, there's kind of a beautiful method. Can you guys see what's the biggest number that goes into both of those?
7.
Not 9. 9 doesn't go into 48. 8 doesn't go into 54. I love you guys so much. Well, have we forgotten how far apart are these numbers? I hear the people that just said 6. You're right. These are 6 apart, so 6 is the biggest number that can go in both, right? Yeah, 48 is 6 times 8. 54 is 6 times.
Oh, you just
Stay with me now. For some reason, people will cancel these 6's out or something. All right, so much wrong with that. They're on the same level, so even if this was times, which it isn't, they're on the same level, so how could they kill each other?
also spade.
So, what you do is you do this. This is really beautiful. It's sort of like if you have kids. If you have 2 kids, and you gave one some ice cream, you gave them some ice cream, one of them's going to have less ice cream. And they're going to immediately realize this. You understand? No, yes?
Yeah.
Or if you have kids, or you've been a kid, or you've been around kids, they got more ice cream. All right, you give them a little bit more. And what I always do is give them a little more. You got more ice cream. You got more sprinkles. And then I just eat all of it. Nobody gets it. It's probably better I don't have kids.
Jen, you know Toad from Super Mario?
Who? What?
Toad, Super Mario, the
Oh,
mushroom
Toad,
guy?
sure, yeah.
That's who you sounded like just then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was not what I was going. But can you guys, let me cross through this because I rewrote it. What's this guy missing that he's got?
An 8.
An 8. So you give it to him. What's this guy missing that he's got?
A
A
9.
9.
Hang on, I got this part.
Right? So I get 8 over, whatever the hell this is. What would it be? 432.
432. Yes.
432.
That's exactly what he said.
Minus 9 over 432. All right, guys. Do you guys get that idea? It's almost. So I factored the bottom in terms of the biggest number they both already have. So it's like they both have a bowl. This guy got 9 scoops and this guy got 8. That's not quite, scoops are not gonna work. This guy's got a 9, this guy's got an 8. So I gotta give this guy an 8 and this guy a 9, now they both have the same thing. That's really the goal of LCD, is raising the bottoms up so they both become the same number. So this is a very direct way. Just investigate who's missing what, and then guess what? You give it to them. It's crazy. And so you get -1 over 432. So here's what a problem is going to look like for us now. What you got, Jeff? Sure. It doesn't matter, dude. Just call me. Sure. No. So now the bottoms are not the same. You factor them, but of course one of them is silly. I can't factor this guy. How do I factor the other guy? Why can't these x's cancel?
Because they're not multiplying.
Good. Addition can't undo division. Who's missing something?
The left is missing another X.
Yeah, he's missing an x. So to make it legal, you got to give the top and the bottom. So I actually just did nothing. Way to go, Jeff. Right? I multiply by 1. But now it's x squared over x times x minus 3 plus 2 over x times x minus. Now I've got the same denominator. So now I can just throw them together.
And is that done?
Do it. Why is it done?
You can't do anything else.
I can't factor the top. So there's no way they're going to have something in common. So I know I'm done. So I'll go ahead and give you this. We're going to do this next time. I'll give you guys this.
Idiot. Not you, Jeff.
I didn't think it was me. There ain't no way you're rolling that at me. So this is currently just for your information. We will do this one next time. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Yep.
Yeah.